Right, this is day 2 of documenting the Barwa chair. A couple interesting things. Um, Amanda found this. I got the original tag, Barwa, the original contour chair. So when we do the new cover, we are going to remove this tag and either include it or include a copy and save this, but that will be there. Something else she discovered was, we felt like a cord, but it turns out there's a metal chain around, the cover, which is pretty neat. So anyway, what we're gonna do is rip out the stitches and then make a pattern piece based on the cover, and then this chain, we're gonna use the same chain since it looks like it's perfectly fine. We'll of course know more once we remove it, but we'll do what we can to get the rust off of this and try to use the same chain, so they won't matter. The shorter bolts for the base of it, these are all in great shape. These are the original ones, and so the 1 1/4 inch bolts we'll use these. I did polish the heads a little bit. I didn't spend too much time, but I think these are going to work out really well. But these will need new nuts. The original nuts are pretty rusted. Okay, so let's look at the springs. I used one of our really nice vases, which is, I'm probably going to pay for that. But soaking the springs overnight in pure vinegar, and man, that is disgusting. But again, that's a lot of years worth of dirt and grime. And let's find the bad rusted one. So we can see it's already looking way better. I haven't gotten to scrub it yet. Again, we're gonna let it soak more. And I'm really curious to see what this one's gonna look like when it's finished. But these need to stay in here quite a bit more time, and we may need to change out the vinegar as well. All right, so most of yesterday was spent on polishing up the various chrome pieces, or not chrome, the aluminum frame. And we tried several things. First, we did steel wool with vinegar, and that worked wonders on getting the initial layer of dust and grime off. And then I tried polishing it with metal polish and a drill, and this piece is like that. And it worked pretty well, but you can still see it's I was hoping for it to turn out better than this. So it got a little bit of the shine back into it. But we can make this better. So what we did was I have a set of micro mesh, right, which goes from grit 1500 to 12,000 grit. I've used this set several times on wood projects around the house. The first time I've done it with metal. This is pretty much going to destroy this set, so we'll need to buy more after this. But the results we can see over here on this piece. So we spent quite a bit of time on this piece, and you can see it looks way better. I mean, it doesn't look brand new or nowhere close to new, but that is pretty great. Now obviously on the base of the rocker, that's where these things have most of the wear and tear. And this looks, I mean, I think that looks, if the camera will focus, I don't know, that's pretty great. Now, I just went through, by the way, this is how we're doing the metal polish, is with this Meguiar's auto polish stuff, and with the drill, with one of these pads on it. This works wonders. Now check out the part that's had the final polish. Ooh, doesn't that look good? Look at that. And that's what, hoping by the end of today, you see this little line is where it touches another piece of metal, so once it's reassembled, you won't notice that, but you will see that part on the chair, and it looks, I mean, that is every bit as good as I was hoping for it to be. So I'm hoping by the end of today, we'll go through the micro mesh on the rest of the frame, at least the bottom rocker part, and get that and then do the final polishing and get that reassembled. And then I guess we'll work on scraping up the springs and trying to get those looking good. But so far, super pleased with the results, and this has been a fun project. All right, so these gross springs have been sitting in vinegar for 48 hours, and it is so cool. This rust, this was the really bad one that had the water damage on top of it. Let's see, I don't have a good way to hold the phone and clean this, but you'll see that the rust, a lot of it just comes right off with a little bit of pressure from the vinegar. It just works wonders. So this will take a little bit to scrub and clean up, but I'm pretty optimistic that we'll be able to use the original springs on this. Okay, here's the result of a couple days of polishing this by hand. It's looking really good. Now if we get up close, you'll see some of the dings are still in it, but you know, like under here, it's still pretty spotty. But you really have to get up close to look at that. Most of the shoe marks are gone. There's tons of black lines before. These marks are still here because it'll, that's where it touches the other part of the metal frame, so that will stay there. But these are the original bolts, polished, and it doesn't look brand new, but again, 70 years, and I don't know, it looks pretty good. And basically polished the metal the same way that you polish frets on a guitar, and I think it looks pretty darn good. Try to get that ball end there, focus. Trying to focus. Stupid camera. Yeah, but anyway, that's 2 days worth of work. Interesting way to spend the weekend, but we'll get the rest of the frame done and go from there.